guys, hello to everyone watching. Joy Taylor from Undisputed alongside the great Ray Lewis. We're doing a Facebook Live. We're going to ask Ray a couple questions, and then also we're going to take your questions. So put them in the comment section on the video, and we will get to them hopefully during this video. So thanks for joining us. And the news of the year is Dak. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. They're playing amazing. Dak and Zeke out of their mind. And yesterday, Romo had a pretty serious press conference.
Yeah.
Now, I know you can be an emotional guy, very tough, very emotional. What was your reaction when you saw that? Because I felt for him.
For Romo?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think any like true warrior, when they're in that position, it's different because you're not usually being in that position. Like you're usually the guy who's always playing and everything, but when you're in that position, it's just different. And so, look, I said this earlier that I would have loved to see him just come pure from his heart, right? And just let your raw emotions sometimes show. Like it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be upset. Like somebody took my job. Somebody, is doing better than I've expected them to do and whatever. But I think when you think about where Romo is, he hears everything else everybody else is hearing, right? Sooner or later, it's like, okay, when is enough, or when Romo is coming back and how well Dak is playing? Because I truly believe this, right? If Dak keeps winning and the Cowboys keep winning, everybody wins. Like, I don't care who it is, right? That's one thing about it. If you ever touch a ring, you realize everybody gets a ring. From the people who work in the kitchen, from the people in the front office, everybody wins. And I understand that Romo maybe want to be that guy to go do that. But then everybody has a role. And I think he understands his role now. But I think when you start to watch what's starting to happen in Dallas, I think not just the locker room, not just front office, I think Romo is starting to maybe realize this may be the new future. That may be the new thing for the Dallas Cowboys. And you have to ask yourself, why wouldn't he be? For me right now, I'm telling you, I'm not choosing no other MVP in the National Football League but Dak Prescott. Right now. I'm telling you right now, what we've seen this kid do, we have not saw a rookie do come into a National Football League and do this and have his team at 8-1 and the best record in the National Football League, right? And did not expect to be the starter. Just came into camp, always worked hard. I studied this kid at Mississippi State. And so now I think Romo senses that, and I think he sees that. And when you sit in the room, so you got to think about when you go in the quarterback room, you're paying attention to the same film that your quarterbacks are talking about. So everybody's talking about, he's like, good job, Dak. Dak, that's a great read. Dak, oh man, that's. And so if you're Romo, you're sitting over the, oh man, wait a minute, this man is really good. Like he's really making all of the reads and he's making all of these big plays. And I think one of the thing that speaks volume, I think, and it's appropriate for Romo to come out now because after the Pittsburgh game, Antonio Brown scores his big touchdown, right? And I'm like, wow. I'm like, man, they're a running team. So how are they going to get back down and do this? And when you see how cool Dak comes out in that pocket and leads his team back down there.
At Heinz Field.
At Heinz Field. Now, trust me, I've had many heartbreaks there, right? But when you see how this guy comes about, just cool, let me go out and do what I do, and then go score, him and Zeke. I'm like, wait a minute. That's different. That's different. And I think Romo senses that. And so I think the whole Cowboy Nation senses that. Maybe it's a sad story because Romo is not that guy, but it's a beautiful story being built right now.
But I agree with you. But we all know Jerry Jones is there, and he's stubborn, and he's proud, and that's what this is all about.
Right.
So, I mean, I believe, I know Skip believes, and I know Shannon believes also that if anything happens with Dak, and we've had no reason to see this happen. Although I do have a theory that because Dak is playing for his job, it's kind of keeping him going. So maybe this may actually backfire on all of them. I hope not. But Jerry still has the potential to put Tony in there.
Let me say something. Remember this. If that happens and it don't pan out,
yes,
that organization will never be the same again. Because that wave, see, let me show you something about waves. We get away from waves. Moments in the league don't come around the way you think they're coming back around, right? You think about the Seattle Seahawks on the 1 yard line against New England Patriots 2 years ago, right? If you run that ball, that's back-to-back dynasties. That's a dynasty.
Or at least if they don't get it in, you can argue that they did what was working all year.
What they were built to do.
Right.
So it was a wave. Think about the Green Bay Packers and what the Green Bay Packers are going through right now.
Yep.
If you go back 2 years ago in that playoff game in Seattle, they on the 1 yard line. You got to run that freaking ball to Eddie Lacy. You can't take 3 against that defense. Then you come back out and get another turnover. You go back down the field and get another 3 on that defense. No, you have to punch that ball in, or you have to give yourself the chances. I'm saying the same thing with Dallas right now. If you change that now, right now, and it does not end the way you want it to end, then guess what? Next year they may not come back. I can give you the best example ever. The NFC champion last year was the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers can't get out of their own way right now.
Yep.
Right? And you got to ask yourself, and I said this year ago, that wave may never happen again.
Momentum.
It's really real, and I think if you get away from that wave, if you get away from what Dak and Elliott is doing right now, those kids, they're dynamic, and they're dynamic together. And we rarely see this in a National Football League. And so if I'm telling Jerry Jones, if I'm telling the Cowboys or anybody, do yourselves a favor, ride this wave, because you never know when it ends.
So we have a question from the Facebook comment section. If you have a question for Ray, put it in the comment section. We'll try and get to it. Do you think that the Cowboys will make it to the Super Bowl?
Man, Cowboys got a good push to make it to the Super Bowl. So the entire infrastructure on everything that was built for the Cowboys, right? Go get the best offensive line. Go get a big play receiver. You remember this. This may sound really familiar because 94, 95 Cowboys, this is what they was known for. Big offensive lines, physical running backs, very skillful from the tight end position all the way to the wide receiver position. Now, you built that whole model for Romo, right? It didn't work out for Romo as well, right? But now you got another young guy that you put right back in that model that you've already paid all this money for, the high offensive line, all these things. So now you have the formula to go back and win a Super Bowl. I said this last night, talking to a bunch of guys. Nick Van Ness and Sam Cassell were just sitting around having a cigar last night. And it was really interesting because all these conversations came up and we started talking about the Cowboys. And I said, the only team I think in the NFC that will give the Cowboys problems is Seattle.
Yeah.
Because of what Seattle does defensively. Now, that defense against that offense, I would love to see. Right, in an NFC championship. Now, a lot of other NFC teams may say, well, what about us, right? I'm just telling you.
You're allowed to say that.
Yeah, what they have all the way around the board, I think they are a front runner. Now, what I know they don't have is a pass rusher, a true person that can get after the quarterback. And that's a big problem,
right.
As you saw what Pittsburgh was able to do to them last week, go up and down the field.
James Harrison.
Yeah, right, because you
got the fountain of youth.
Yeah, because you got to be able to pressure the quarterback.
Right.
And you can't blitz all the time because that means you put everybody in one-on-ones.
Right.
And I think you saw that the other night against Pittsburgh. Can they go to the Super Bowl? I think the Cowboys I think they have a shoe-in definitely to a playoff, probably a first-round bye. And unless something goes terribly wrong, right, you pray injuries don't hit and things like that. But I like what the Cowboys can do deep into the playoffs.
What do you think they'll do against your Ravens on Sunday? It's another question from Irving.
I tell you what, a lot of people aren't, thinking about the Ravens. I know the record, doesn't kind of show. But, I've always been close with Dean Pease, who's the defensive coordinator there. And, he shared an email with me the other day of these numbers. And these numbers are beautiful to see from a defensive standpoint. I mean, you're talking about across the board, yards per game given up. I think they're number one. They're number one almost in 5 different categories, probably number 2 or 3 in a lot of very important categories, which is turnovers and red zone defense. So when you think about the balance of how they like to run the ball, the Dallas Cowboys, going against this Ravens defense, I think this will be a big test for that offensive line against that front 7 of the Baltimore Ravens. So I think defensively, I can't wait to see this defense go against that offense. I'm really, I might go down there. Because, me and...
Gonna give him a little speech beforehand?
No, I'm not. I don't know about
You're
that.
out of the speech business now?
I'm going down there with me and Phelps. Might go down and see that game together. I don't know. I might go home. But it's one of those games that I think is so intriguing that, something has to give. And I can't wait to see that battle.
It'll definitely be exciting.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, Ray, for doing this. I'm sure we'll try and get you on here again and get some more of your questions. And thanks for watching. We do this about once a week, so make sure you like the page and share this.